Hi Stampers, it's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Today I have a fun fold for you that uses up one sheet of cardstock to give you 2 cards, and then it also showcases some designer series paper as well as like an embossing folder design, and it's super easy and a great way to use up some of your pattern paper scraps as well as embellishing with some die cuts. So this one I had done last week and had posted it in my Facebook Stampin' with the Hounds page, and several people just loved this color combo and wanted to know how I made the card, so I'm doing the tutorial today for you. So this one features some of the in colors that are available right now. They are the Tahitian Tide, Starry Sky, which is by far my favorite, and then Parakeet Party is what I had done for the ink blended, and this was kind of inspired in Minnesota. Last week we had availability to see some of the northern lights, so this is kind of what inspired me. And then I'm also using the Naturally Gilded designer series paper that is available online only, and this comes with 3 different kind of foil patterns, and you get 2 sheets of each one. So the one I'm using today is more of the gold kind of field flowers, and then there's one that's more silver that has kind of like what I call like the trees and then still some of the field flower looks to it. And then the final one, oops, I didn't grab it, is copper, and again this is another one that has just your field flower kind of pattern design on it. So online only, so just make sure you check out some of those deals and stuff, and mark your calendars. April 4th 2023, the retired list of items that are retiring from both the annual catalog and the mini catalog. Some of the items have been posted or have been reduced, so make sure you check those out, and they are a first come first serve, so if something runs out they won't replace it. So make sure you check that, and that'll go through May, and then May 2nd is when the new catalog kicks off, and oh my gosh, there's so many fun new colors and everything coming out. So we're gonna get started. Like I said, we're just gonna make 2 cards today using what I'm calling this triangle flap card. So for your supplies, you will need just an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and what I'm doing, pan out here just a little bit, is we're going to score at 4 1/4, and then you'll just rotate it and score at 5 1/2, and then we're just going to cut at a diagonal, and that's it. That's how you get your 2 cards from it. So we're going to get started with that. So you want to make sure you have your Simply Scored tool or your paper trimmer with a scoring blade on it. I like to use our Simply Scored tool. All right, so like I said, we're going to score at that 4 1/4, and then rotate it and score at 5 1/2. And that's it for the scoring. Now for the next part, to do the cutting, because this is a full sheet of cardstock, I have a variety of paper trimmers, and the only one that would fit this cardstock in it at a diagonal so that you could cut it diagonally was Stampin' Up's old paper trimmer. It oh gosh, I think this retired several years ago. So if you still have this in your stash, this will work because it allows you to cut at a diagonal, and there's room in the paper trimmer to do it. But if you don't have the old paper trimmer, I'm going to show you what I did, because again mine the blades aren't since I retired, I don't have, you can't get replacement blades for it, so mine are pretty dull. So what I'm using is a cutting pad, a self-healing cutting mat. I'm going to use a ruler, and I am going to use a hobby blade or like an X-Acto knife on it. So I'm going to scooch in here a little bit so you can see. So what you first want to do And I'm just going to do this with a pencil just so you can kind of see what I'm doing exactly. So I'm lining this up with my ruler, so corner to corner. Wait, I want to go this way. Sorry, I want to make sure I want to cut this way. I want my diagonal going this way on my card. You can do it the other way too, but your flaps will just be on different sides. So I'm just going to draw a pencil mark just so you can see what I'm doing. And then it's going to intersect at that point in the center. So that's very important. So then what I did is we're going to cut, and I'm just going to do it this way so it cuts just so that I'm going this way when I'm cutting. I'm going to make sure my ruler is lined up, and then I'm going to take my hobby blade, corner to corner, and I'm just going to cut this right in half, and then erase those pencil lines. Oh, that didn't cut. What happened here? Oh, sorry. I didn't press down hard enough. Let's try that again. I did it on my first sample. Oh, there we go. Now I feel it cutting. There we go. There, and now it separates. Okay, so that's the way to do it if you don't have the old style paper trimmer from Stampin' Up. Okay, now what I like to do is have my flaps be having this top one open up at the top here. So this will be my one that's going to come down. Grab my bone folder. So I'm going to bring this top flap down and then burnish it. And then my left one is going to come over. So I'm just going to make sure that that's lined up. So then it opens from the top and the bottom. That's how I like mine to fold. I'm going to do the exact same thing on my other one. I'm going to bring, I got my right angle, so I'm going to bring my top flap down. And then I'll bring my left flap over. And now I've got my two cards, and they're both folded the same way. Now, you can totally play around with this if you want it to be portrait style and have it go this way. You totally can. You can also turn it upside down, flip it, and do it the other way so that this one goes out first, then this one. I mean, there's a variety of different ways that you can do it. But like I said, for this card design, for what my plan was, I like to have my top triangle come up and then my one on the side open to the left. Is how I'm doing it for both of mine. Okay, so then for your layering pieces, you just need one piece of cardstock, and this, or it can be designer series paper. Either way works. And these are both going to be 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so that's my cardstock is 4 by 5 1/4, and I've already put it through the in the Clouds embossing folder, which this is a folder that is retiring, and I love this folder. So I'm kind of bummed that it's retiring because I do use it a lot. And then my designer series paper again is 4 by 5 1/4. But before we cut this, I want to color this one, because with this paper you can do the coloring with your ink blends, or not your ink blends, or you can do your Stampin' pads and your brushes. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Get some of my stuff out of the way. So like I said, I'm going to be doing that Starry Sky, the Parakeet Party, and Tahitian Tide. I'm just going to move a few things on my desk so I have room. So on this one, because I'm doing that Northern Lights effect, I'm actually going to start with my green on it. Just shifting stuff a little bit here so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with the green. And I'm just going to focus kind of in that center area for the Parakeet Party. So with the blending brushes, you want to keep your forefinger on the brush head and then work in a circular motion, and the more ink you put on, of course, the darker it's going to be. So I'm just kind of doing that little bit of diagonal going down with the green. All right, then I'm going to come in with the Tahitian Tide. And I'm going to start off the paper and then work my way on. And this is how you kind of get that faded look. And then I'm blending into that Parakeet Party a bit, just to blend those colors. And when you're working with the brushes and doing a lot of ink blending, you will re-ink your pads a little bit more. So after I do a lot of ink blending, I tend to re-ink my pads afterwards. All right, and then we're going to do the other side, same thing, kind of starting off of the paper and working onto the Designer Series paper. This is a good arm workout. Circular motion all the time. All right, and then we're going to end with the darkest color, which is the Starry Sky. And again, I'm going to start off of the paper and work my way onto the Designer Series paper, keeping the edges really dark and then fading in. And then with this dark color, I do like to go around all the edges of the Designer Series paper just to tie it in. And to help with your fingers, if you don't want to be getting ink on them, you can use like a Post-it note to help hold the paper down so you don't get inky fingers. Now we're going to get really dark here in the corner. And then finish up doing that little border. And then if you want to go back with any of the colors after that, you certainly can. Just adding a little bit more of that green just to make that pop. Okay, so once you're happy with that, isn't that beautiful? Love it, love it, love it. I love a good northern sky. Now, to get rid of some of this excess ink that's kind of sitting on top of that foil, I just take a little chamois cloth, or you can take like a Kleenex or a paper towel, and I'm just kind of buffing to get some of that excess ink sitting off of that foil background. All right, so we're going to set these aside for now. Okay, so now we need to cut both our pattern paper and our cardstock that we texturized in half. So like I said, you only needed one designer series paper and one cardstock for it. So we're gonna take and cut these in half. So when you go to cut these, you want to make sure you're cutting the paper correctly so that that triangle shape layers onto your flap correctly. So I'm going to have on this first card, my cloud is going to be on the upper right hand side. So I need to make sure I'm cutting at a diagonal this way. So when you put it in your paper trimmer, you're going to do a point, your point to point. Okay, while it's in the track. And then you'll cut. I probably should be using another paper trimmer because I'm pretty sure this one's pretty dull. We'll find out. Otherwise I may switch. Not too bad. A little frayed, but it's okay. All right, so those I'm going to set aside, and I'm going to do the exact same thing for this other piece, making sure that I'm going to cut this way so that my piece is aligned correctly. So again, point to point in your cutting groove, hold it down, and then cut that in half. And then while I have this out, I forgot to cut my paper for the inside of a card. I'm going to do that really quick. And again, this is just a vanilla. So this is just the 5 1/4 by 4, just for the inside of your card. Now let's put our card together. I'm just going to flip this over so I'm not getting ink all over. So I'm going to take one of my cards and I'm going to have, this one will have the colored foil on the top. So you'll just adhere that. And I like to use the liquid glue just because I have a little bit of wiggle room before it's completely dry. I can move it around a little bit. All right, so there's that one. A little heavy with the glue in the corner. All right, and then my other cloud is going to go on the bottom half. I'm going to put glue on the back. And then I had my quarter sheet goes on the inside. And again, I'm just doing vanilla. You can make this whatever color, neutral or another kind of light color. And this was just that 4 by 5 1/4. And that's the flap. Fun, fun. All right, let's do our other one. So now this time the clouds are going to go in the left-hand corner of the card. our fields of flowers. Oh, did I mess this up? Oh, I did. Oh, I should have done that one on the other one. Oh well, it's upside down. It'll be fine. Yeah, just make sure you pay attention on your pattern when you cut it. I messed up on that one, but that's okay. I could switch. Yeah, no, this is fine. It'll be fine. I'll make it work. See, even the demonstrator messes up on occasion. Okay, now you can decorate this however you want. So I like to have, yeah, this is where I messed up. I should have put my clouds up here on the top, but oh well. You can do like some die cuts. I'm doing a focal center with the circles, and these layering scallop circles and circles are retiring. I'm so bummed. So if you don't have them, get them now before they're gone. And then these were some retired dragonfly and butterfly dies that Stampin' Up! Used to have several years ago, but I just used them up on my card. So we are going to do, again, I'm kind of keeping that butterfly. I had some other ones that I had just stamped, and I'm using the Nature's Harvest, again, another die set that is retiring. This is a great cone flower that I just stamped out of gold, and then I put it on an adhesive sheet so that it made it into a sticker, which makes it easier to put on. So I'm actually going to, on my card, my boo-boo card, I'm going to have this be a focal point, and then people probably won't notice that so I've already die cut this with the sticker sheet on, just to make this a little bit easier to adhere to my card. So we'll just have, and I'll probably end up cutting some of this off. So we'll do it like here, and then I'll just trim off this excess. There you go. Don't even notice. And then with our focal point, I think on this one, I'll do my smaller butterfly. And I'll put that on like that. So this is, again, vanilla. This is the largest circle in that layering circle die. And then the largest scallop. And I'm using the Parakeet Party as my green, which is one, again, that in color. So these are all still available, and still available next year too, because the in colors always stay in the catalog for 2 years. Okay, and for this one, since I'm doing here, I'm wondering if I've got room to fit my happy birthday. Yes, I'm going to do this in Starry Sky. I'm just making this a birthday card. And I want to make sure, let's see. Stamp straight. And then this one I've already die cut it, and then I cut it out 2 more times and adhered them together, so I've got a little bit of dimension. I'm still going to add, no, I don't think I am. I think it'll be fine. So on this one, since it's going to be attached to the bottom part of my card, I'm going to attach my circle first, and then I'll add my butterfly. But I'm thinking if I put this right about here, so then I'm only going to put glue on that portion on my scallop. That way when you open it, you don't see the glue there. And then now my butterfly, I can just go ahead and glue this straight on because it's going to be attached to that bottom flap. And I've got a little bit of dimension already because it's been multi-layered with the die cuts. All right, so there's the first one, and we'll add a little bit of bling with some of our pastel adhesive sequins that are in the mini catalog. I think these are so pretty. So we'll do, oops, random one. Let's see here, where do I want them? We'll do 1, 2. And with these sequin ones, you always got to be careful because they sometimes fall off these sheets. All right, so there's that one. And then I'll quick decorate the inside, and I'm using from the annual catalog, Botanical Layers from it. And I'm going to do these in the Starry Sky. These are kind of like a little field flowers. And then there's a tiny little stamp, this little doodaddy. I'm just going to do that in Parakeet Party. And I'll just do a few of these just to add some color. So there's the first card. Super fun with that foil. So you can't even tell that I did it upside down. All right, and then our second one, same thing. We're going to go ahead and glue our circle onto our Parakeet Party scallop. And this one, I'm now going to attach it more to the top of the card. So I'm going to put my adhesive only on that top part, but I want to do my saying. And I think on this one, I'm going to do from the Texture Chic set, you are amazing beyond measure. So I'm going to stamp that again in Starry Sky. Making sure I'm stamping straight. Perfect. And then again, this is going to be attached to the top part. So I'm only going to put glue here. Making sure no glue is showing through, and I had a little bit. Not my day for stamping. Oh, yeah, I tell you. Again, same thing. I took this butterfly, die cut it 2 more times after I had done the coloring. So I've got 3 layers of cardstock put together. And this one, because it is going to overhang and we don't want it showing, I just want to make sure that my adhesive is, again, only on this top part of my butterfly. And you could do dimensionals here if you want, but because I've already added some dimension by the multiple layers of cardstock, I'm not going to do dimensionals on this part. Making sure my glue isn't showing. That all looks good. And again, we'll add some sequins. You always kind of think of a triangle when you're doing your embellishments. And I always like to have a small and a large. That's why I love it when they do the gems that have the multiple sizes, because I like having a little bit of variation in my sizes on that. All right, same thing inside. We'll just quick stamp these with the field flowers. Add a little Parakeet Party. Kind of a fun green. And there you have it. That is the triangle flap card using some Northern Lights techniques with our Naturally Gilded Designer Series paper. So lots of fun. The ideas are endless. I would love to see your creation. So make sure you visit my Facebook page, Stampin' with the Hounds, and I will stamp again with you soon. Have a great and creative day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.